Chosen one, listen closely. What you experienced was not random. It was not bad luck, and it was not your imagination. They turned on you because they felt something shifting. Before doors open, before elevation becomes visible, before God moves you publicly, there is almost always a private season where people around you begin to act strange. Conversations change, loyalty weakens, support fades, smiles feel forced. And suddenly, those who once stood beside you now stand against you. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. The truth most people never understand is this: betrayal often arrives before breakthrough, not because God enjoys watching you suffer, but because exposure always triggers insecurity in unhealed people. When your calling begins to activate, it makes others uncomfortable. They may not know why they feel threatened, but they feel it deeply. Something in them recognizes that you are moving into alignment with purpose, and it reminds them of what they avoided becoming. Chosen one, the spiritual realm responds before the physical does. Long before success shows up outwardly, the atmosphere around you changes inwardly. People sense it. They may not be able to explain it, but they feel that your growth is about to separate you from them. And instead of growing with you, they choose to turn on you. This is why Joseph's brothers betrayed him before the palace. This is why David faced Saul's jealousy before the crown. This is why Jesus was rejected by those closest to him before the resurrection. Turning points always come with tension. If you are watching this and nodding quietly, feeling that sting in your chest because this message feels too accurate, pause for a moment. That reaction is not fear. That is recognition. Right now, take a second to support this message. Tap the like button so this reaches other chosen ones who are questioning their experiences. Subscribe if you haven't, because this channel speaks to those walking a narrow path. And if this message is resonating deeply, consider leaving a super thanks. Your support helps keep these messages alive for those who desperately need confirmation but don't know where to find it. Here's the part many people miss. When they turned on you, it wasn't because you did something wrong. It was because you stopped shrinking. Even if you didn't announce your growth, your spirit did. Even if you stayed silent, your presence spoke louder. People who benefit from the old version of you will always resist the new one. And God allows this separation intentionally. Not everyone can go where you're going. Some people are assigned to a season, not a destiny. Their exit is not punishment, it is preparation. If they stayed, they would slow you down, distract you, or try to access blessings they didn't help cultivate. Chosen one, if betrayal has been heavy lately, do not internalize it. Do not replay conversations. Do not question your worth. What you are feeling is the pressure that comes right before spiritual elevation. They turned on you because they felt this coming. And deep down, so did you. Chosen one, there is a moment in every divine journey where what was hidden can no longer remain concealed. Section 1 revealed the sign. Now this section reveals the reason. When your calling begins to activate, masks fall. People who once blended into your life suddenly expose their true intentions, not because you changed toward them, but because your growth disrupted their comfort. Here is a spiritual truth many avoid confronting. Not everyone who walks with you is assigned to walk for you. Some are observers. Some are competitors in disguise. Some are mirrors reflecting unhealed wounds they never dealt with. And when God starts sharpening you, these individuals feel exposed without being accused. Your anointing does something powerful. It doesn't just elevate you. It illuminates others. And illumination is uncomfortable for those who prefer to stay hidden. This is why tension rises without explanation. This is why energy shifts even when words remain polite. You didn't imagine the coldness. You didn't overreact. You discerned it. The Bible shows us this pattern repeatedly. Cain didn't hate Abel because Abel harmed him. Cain hated Abel because God accepted Abel's offering. Abel's obedience exposed Cain's disobedience. And instead of correcting himself, Cain turned on his brother. That same spirit still operates today. When your alignment pleases God, it forces others to confront where they are out of alignment. Chosen one, pay close attention here. Some people didn't turn against you suddenly. They were uncomfortable with you long before they acted on it. They smiled while measuring themselves against you. They encouraged you while secretly hoping you would fail. They stayed close to monitor your progress, not celebrate it. When God began accelerating you, the pressure revealed what proximity was hiding. This is not paranoia. This is discernment awakening. When you start to outgrow environments, relationships become unstable. People who benefited from your silence struggle when you find your voice. People who relied on your self-doubt feel threatened when you stand firm. And people who expected you to stay accessible feel offended when God begins to set you apart. Jesus himself experienced this. Those who once followed him left when the message became too demanding. Religious leaders turned hostile when his authority became undeniable. Even his hometown questioned him, saying, "Is this not the carpenter's son?" Familiarity breeds dismissal. When those who think they know you see God using you in ways they cannot control, resistance forms. Chosen one, understand this clearly. Exposure always precedes separation. God does not remove people randomly. He reveals them first. Their behavior becomes inconsistent. Their support becomes conditional. Their words begin to carry subtle venom. And if you are spiritually sensitive, you feel it long before it happens. This season is not about revenge. It is about recognition. You are being taught who can handle access to your life and who cannot. Some people were never meant to go where you're going. If they had stayed, they would have contaminated your focus, drained your strength, or tried to claim credit for what God alone is doing. Do not chase explanations. Do not demand closure. Their reaction is the closure. Chosen one, when hidden enemies reveal themselves, it is painful, but it is also merciful. God is clearing your path. He is protecting what he placed inside you. And what feels like loss right now is actually space being created for what's next. Chosen one, this part of the journey is where many misunderstand what is actually happening. When people turn on you, the first instinct is to question yourself. You replay moments. You examine your words. You wonder if you changed, if you pushed too hard, if you missed something. But hear this clearly. God is not testing your value in this season. He is sharpening your discernment. Your worth was settled the moment God chose you. What is being refined now is your ability to see clearly without becoming bitter. There is a spiritual lesson hidden inside every betrayal, not to harden your heart, but to train your perception. God allows the turnaround so you can learn to distinguish between alignment and attachment. Some people were never sent to support your destiny. They were sent to reveal areas where you were still overgiving, overtrusting, or seeking validation from the wrong places. This is why the shift feels confusing at first. They did not change overnight. Your tolerance did. Your spirit matured. And once your discernment sharpened, what you used to excuse became impossible to ignore. Look at Samson. His strength was God-given, but his discernment was underdeveloped. He loved what drained him. He trusted what weakened him. God didn't remove Delilah immediately because Samson had to learn that anointing without. Discernment leads to captivity. When betrayal finally came, it was devastating, but it was also instructive. It revealed where Samson's strength was being mismanaged. Chosen one, God is teaching you not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone who praises you supports you. Not everyone who stands near you stands with you. This is not cynicism. This is wisdom. And here's the difficult truth. Some of the people who turned on you were allowed close because you saw their potential instead of their patterns. You believed who they could become instead of accepting who they consistently were. God is correcting that now. He is teaching you to honor patterns over promises. This season is uncomfortable because it requires restraint. You are learning not to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You are learning not to defend your calling to those who benefit from doubting it. And most importantly, you are learning not to shrink just to preserve peace. Jesus modeled this perfectly. When questioned, accused, and abandoned, he did not chase loyalty. He stayed aligned. He spoke when led and remained silent when necessary. He understood that some battles are not won by arguing, but by staying obedient. Chosen one, betrayal does not mean you failed. It means you graduated. God is training you to move with clarity, not emotion, to love without being naive, to forgive without reattaching, and to walk forward without dragging those who are no longer assigned to you. What turned against you was never meant to go with you. Chosen one, there is a spiritual law at work that explains why opposition intensifies right before separation. When people sense that access to you is about to expire, their behavior often becomes louder, sharper, and more hostile. not because you harmed them, but because they feel the door closing. This is the stage where resistance rises. Up until now, many tolerated your growth because it was slow, manageable, non-threatening. But when God accelerates you, when your clarity sharpens and your boundaries strengthen, people begin to realize they cannot follow where you are going. And instead of stepping back gracefully, some push back aggressively. This is not accidental. It is emotional survival on their part. People who benefited from your availability feel loss before it happens. People who relied on your insecurity feel exposed when you become grounded. People who assumed you would always be reachable feel entitled to your energy. And when they sense that God is separating you, panic sets in. Pharaoh increased the workload when he realized Israel was about to leave. He did not become harsher because Moses was wrong. He became harsher because freedom was near. Scripture tells us that the closer Israel came to deliverance, the tighter Pharaoh tried to grip them. That same pattern shows up in your life. Pressure increases when release is imminent. Chosen one, understand this. The sudden criticism, the passive-aggressive remarks, the attempts to guilt you back into old roles. These are signs that your separation is no longer negotiable. They feel it, and rather than adjust, they resist. This is where many chosen ones stumble. They interpret resistance as a sign to slow down. They think peace means approval, but peace does not always come from agreement. Sometimes peace comes from obedience. God is teaching you how to move without consensus. Jesus faced this moment too. When he set his face toward Jerusalem, opposition intensified. The Pharisees became more aggressive. The disciples grew uneasy. Even Peter tried to pull him aside and redirect him. Why? Because the separation between Jesus and the old system was becoming irreversible. What was coming required distance from what had been. Chosen one, when resistance increases, it is often because compromise is no longer possible. You cannot stay the same and fulfill what God has placed on your life. Something has to give, and God will not sacrifice your destiny to preserve someone else's comfort. This season requires courage, not loud courage. Quiet, unwavering resolve, the kind that does not announce itself, the kind that keeps moving even when misunderstood, the kind that accepts that not everyone will applaud your obedience. Let this sink in. Some people fight separation because they know proximity is the only power they have left. Once God moves you, they lose influence. Once your environment changes, their voice fades. Once your assignment becomes clear, their opinion becomes irrelevant. Chosen one, resistance is not a warning. It is a signal. The chapter is closing. The access is ending, and God is positioning you where your calling will no longer be diluted by those who cannot go with you. Chosen one, when people realize they can no longer influence your direction, they often shift strategies. If they cannot stop your movement, they attempt to reshape how others see you. This is where misunderstanding turns into misrepresentation and silence turns into stories. Control of the narrative becomes their last attempt at relevance. This stage is painful because it attacks your reputation rather than your character. And reputation wounds differently. It makes you want to explain yourself. It pulls at your desire to be understood. But God is teaching you something critical here. You do not need to defend what he is revealing in time. When Joseph was sold into slavery, the story about him was twisted. He went from favored son to discarded brother, from trusted servant to imprisoned criminal. None of those labels reflected who he truly was. But God allowed the narrative to be wrong while he worked behind the scenes to make the outcome undeniable. When Joseph rose, the truth no longer needed explanation. Chosen one, people who turn on you often need others to validate their choice. They exaggerate your flaws, question your intentions, and frame your growth as arrogance or abandonment. Not because it's accurate, but because it soothes their conscience. If they can convince themselves you are the problem, they don't have to confront their own insecurity. This is why rumors feel strategic rather than emotional. This is why the timing feels intentional. It happens right when you stop over-explaining, right when you stop chasing approval, right when you begin moving quietly. Silence threatens those who rely on reaction. Biblically, we see this with David. Saul couldn't kill David, so he tried to turn the people against him. He questioned his loyalty. He framed his obedience as ambition. But David did not defend himself. He let God be his witness. And in time, Saul's own instability exposed the truth David never had to announce. Chosen one, here is a hard truth. People who speak the loudest about you often know the least about where God is taking you. They are reacting to loss of access, not insight. They are responding to distance, not revelation. God is teaching you restraint. Not everyone deserves your explanation. Not every accusation deserves your energy. Some battles are won by staying consistent, not confrontational. When God is your defender, your silence becomes powerful. This does not mean you ignore wisdom. It means you stop feeding distractions. Your focus must remain on alignment, not optics, on obedience, not opinion, on outcome, not narrative. Let this ground you. If they have to explain why they left you, why they oppose you, or why they feel threatened by your growth, it's because the truth is already working against their version of events. Chosen one, let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misunderstand. God is not finished writing your story, and when he reveals the ending, the noise will fall silent on its own. Chosen one, this is the section where the weight of the journey becomes real. After the betrayal, after the exposure, after the resistance and the narrative twisting, there is often a quiet space that follows. Fewer calls, fewer messages, less affirmation, and it can feel like abandonment if you don't understand what God is doing. But this is not isolation as punishment, this is separation as preparation. God is teaching you how to walk alone without losing your sense of connection to him. There is a difference between being alone and being isolated. Isolation disconnects you from purpose. Solitude strengthens it. In this season, God is removing noise so you can hear direction. Many chosen ones struggle here because they were used to being surrounded, being needed, being accessible. When that suddenly changes, the temptation is to fill the silence with distractions or to reconnect with people God already removed. But returning to what God pulled you from will only delay what he is trying to give you. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading Israel. David lived in caves before sitting on the throne. Elijah was hidden by the brook before confronting false prophets. Jesus withdrew often not because he lacked support, but because he needed clarity. Every major calling is shaped in quiet places. Chosen one, the loneliness you feel now is not because you lost value. It is because God is teaching you to stop drawing identity from people. When applause fades, when affirmation is absent, you learn who you are without external validation. And that foundation is necessary for what's ahead. This season is also teaching you discernment with proximity. God is showing you that access is sacred. Not everyone gets to hear your thoughts. Not everyone gets to know your plans. Not everyone gets to walk with you in vulnerability. This is not secrecy. This is stewardship. Notice how your prayers have changed, how your thoughts have slowed, how your tolerance for surface-level connections has diminished. These are not signs of emotional withdrawal. They are signs of spiritual maturity. You are being rewired to move with intention. The enemy often tries to distort this season by whispering that you are forgotten, overlooked, or replaceable. That is a lie. God hides what he values. He covers what he is preparing. What feels like silence is actually protection. Chosen one, learn to sit in this space without rushing to escape it. Do not label this season incorrectly. You are not being cut off. You are being focused. You are not being abandoned. You are being aligned. When God reintroduces people into your life, it will be different, fewer but deeper, slower but safer, and you will recognize alignment without forcing connection. This is where strength is built quietly. This is where identity stabilizes, and this is where dependence on God becomes unshakable. You are not alone. You are being led. Chosen one. This is the turning point many never acknowledge. What they did to you, the betrayal, the distancing, the misunderstanding, it did not stop you. It accelerated you. Pain has a way of clarifying purpose when comfort keeps us complacent. Had they stayed supportive, had the environment remained familiar, you might have delayed obedience. You might have compromised longer. You might have stayed connected to spaces God was already calling you out of. But resistance forced movement. Loss forced evaluation. And disappointment pushed you into alignment faster than ease ever could. This is why God does not always prevent betrayal. He uses it. Look at the story of Nehemiah. The opposition didn't stop him from rebuilding the wall. It focused him. It sharpened his strategy. It forced him to build with one hand and guard with the other. The resistance clarified what mattered. The distractions fell away. Purpose became undeniable. Chosen one, discomfort removes options. When life becomes too painful to stay the same, change becomes inevitable. And God knows exactly how much pressure is required to move you without breaking you. What felt like cruelty was actually calibration. Think about how your priorities shifted after the betrayal, how your boundaries strengthened, how your tolerance for confusion ended, how you stopped chasing people who wouldn't meet you halfway. That growth did not come from affirmation. It came from disappointment. Joseph's brothers meant to destroy him. Instead, they positioned him. If Joseph had remained in his father's house, favored and protected, he may never have discovered the leadership capacity inside him. Betrayal unlocked resilience. Isolation refined wisdom. And pressure revealed authority. Chosen one, God used what hurt you to hurry you into who you were meant to become. This is why you feel different now. More grounded, less reactive, more selective. You are not hardened, you are anchored. You no longer confuse access with alignment. You no longer mistake familiarity for assignment. And here's the truth many overlook. Those who turned on you unknowingly became part of the process. They played a role without realizing it. Their exit cleared space. Their opposition exposed strength. Their rejection redirected you. This does not excuse what they did. It explains how God redeemed it. The Bible reminds us that God causes all things to work together for good, not because all things are good, but because He is sovereign. Your pain was not wasted. Your tears were not ignored. Every moment of confusion refined your vision. Chosen one, alignment often arrives through disruption. The shaking removed what could not go forward. And now you stand clearer, lighter, and more focused than before. What they did could not stop what God started. It only pushed you into it sooner. Chosen one, there comes a moment after alignment where the atmosphere around you shifts again. This time, it is not tension. It is awareness. People begin to notice that you are no longer the same. Even if they cannot explain how or when it happened, your presence feels steadier. Your words carry weight. Your reactions are measured. And those who once turned on you begin to feel the impact of your growth. They may never apologize. They may never acknowledge their role. But they will notice. This is the quiet phase where God allows transformation to speak for itself. You are no longer striving to be seen. You are simply moving in truth. And that truth is evident without announcement. Those who doubted you start watching from a distance. Those who underestimated you begin re-evaluating their assumptions, and those who opposed you realize they misjudged your resilience. The Bible shows this clearly. After Job endured loss, betrayal, and silence, God restored him publicly. The same people who questioned his integrity witnessed his elevation. Job did not explain himself. God did. Restoration made the statement that suffering could not. Chosen one, what changes now is not how others treat you, but how you respond to their awareness. You are no longer seeking validation from those who withdrew it. You are no longer trying to prove your heart to those who misunderstood it. Growth has matured you beyond that need. This is important. Do not reopen doors God closed just because people suddenly show curiosity. Not all interest is alignment. Some are drawn back out of guilt. Some are drawn back out of comparison. Some are drawn back because they sense you are stepping into something they cannot access. Discernment matters more now than ever. Jesus did not entrust himself to everyone. Even when crowds followed him, he knew that attention and alignment are not the same. You are learning the same lesson. Just because someone sees your growth does not mean they are meant to be close to it. Chosen one, this is where humility and confidence must coexist. You do not boast. You do not belittle. You do not seek revenge. You simply remain consistent. Consistency confuses those who expected you to break. Stability unsettles those who hoped you would fall apart. Let this encourage you. Your healing is visible. Your clarity is noticeable. Your peace is evident. And even those who never believed in you cannot deny the change. God is teaching you to let fruit speak louder than defense, to let time reveal what words could not, to let transformation do what explanation never could. You are not who you were when they turned on you, and they know it. Chosen one, this is where everything comes together. What you experienced was never meant to define you. It was meant to confirm you. The turning, the resistance, the silence, the loss, none of it was the conclusion. It was the evidence that you were moving in the right direction. People turning on you was not the ending of your story. It was the signal that the old chapter had closed. When God prepares someone for a higher assignment, He often allows a final separation that makes return impossible. Not because reconciliation is wrong, but because regression would be. Some doors cannot be reopened without undoing the work God has already completed in you. Think about Lot's wife. The instruction was clear. Do not look back, not because the past was evil, but because it was no longer safe. Looking back represented attachment to what God already judged as complete. In the same way, lingering emotionally in places God has moved you from will only delay what is ahead. Chosen one, what you endured refined your obedience. You learned how to trust God without reassurance. You learned how to keep moving without applause. You learned how to stand firm without consensus. These are not minor lessons. They are essential for leadership, influence, and stewardship. This season confirmed that you can survive loss without losing faith, that you can be misunderstood without becoming bitter, that you can be alone without being abandoned. These confirmations matter more than comfort ever could. The Bible reminds us that many are called, but few are chosen. The chosen ones are not those with the smoothest path. They are the ones who keep walking when the path narrows, when people leave, when support fades, when clarity costs connection. Chosen one, you are still standing, and that alone speaks volumes. Do not rush to close this chapter emotionally. Let it settle. Let the lessons anchor. Let the growth stabilize. God is not asking you to forget what happened. He is asking you to remember it correctly. You were not rejected. You were redirected. You were not betrayed to break you. You were betrayed to prepare you. You were not left behind. You were set apart. This confirmation is quiet, but it is powerful. You no longer need signs from people. You recognize the signs in your spirit. Peace replaces urgency. Confidence replaces confusion. And trust replaces fear. What comes next will require everything you have learned. The clarity, the boundaries, the discernment, the dependence on God rather than approval from others. Chosen one, this was never the end. It was the final confirmation that you are walking into what God already saw long before anyone else did. And now, you move forward without looking back.